Welcome to the first of 3 videos on essay structure. My name is Brenda Lee.
And I'm Vanessa Todd.
We are learning advisors from the Learning Skills Unit. We help students develop the skills they need to succeed at uni. We do this through writing and study skills workshops, online resources such as StudyWise and the Academic Integrity module, and writing consultations through the WriteWise program and Studiosity. You can find out more about these services at this link, bit.ly/assessment help. This essay structure workshop consists of 3 parts. This video is the first of 3 parts, and our focus is on the essay and its purpose. What are the expectations when we are required to write essays? Why do we write essays at uni? What are the must-haves in an essay?
Well, Brenda, let me ask you a question. What has your experience been of writing essays in the past?
Oh, I must say that when I was doing my studies, I was filled with lots of uncertainty and often, with anxiety as well, because I wasn't sure what I needed to do. And I often wish that there was someone who could show me what to do.
Right, yes. And so what do you think are some of the challenges then about writing essays when people really aren't very sure what they're supposed to do?
I think many of us go through that. And often it's not knowing what to do, not being very sure what the question is about. And I used to overwrite, and that was a dangerous thing to do.
Overwriting, you mean you wrote too much?
Yes, that's right. So I had to basically start writing much earlier in order to give me time to cut down and write a little bit more concisely.
That's interesting. I think some people have the opposite, that they don't know how to fill out the words. They often feel like they have to pad out to get the right number of words for an essay.
Vanessa, now that you have been through your undergrad and postgrad studies, what do you think are required when we need to write essays at university?
Well, like you, I wasn't really very sure. And it sometimes seemed to me that depending on what subject you were doing, there were different expectations. So I think really it's about showing your lecturer or your marker what you know and how you've been going with the concepts and the skills developed in the class that you're taking. And writing is one of the best ways of people being able to see how much you know. So it's about being able to show your knowledge, but it's also about organizing and developing reasoning and sort of leading your reader with you as you're explaining and developing an argument. So I've mentioned argument there, but what else do you think you're being asked to do when you've got that word essay in your assessment?
I think you've really, touched on most of the major points. I think what's really important to note is that when we are asked to write essays, the expectations would include reasoned arguments, not just based on our opinions, but it has to be informed by evidence. It also requires critical thought, that we have thought through an issue from different perspectives, and not just based on what we think. And also, what's helpful, or the expectations, is that we can bring together knowledge that we have learned either within the unit or between units, for example.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, to think that what you've learned before can often sort of add to what you're doing in this assessment and this essay. So what do you think are some of the must-haves then for an essay? We've sort of been talking at a high level, but let's we get more specific. What does an essay need to have?
I think as part of this academic community of scholars and researchers, our essays should include arguments. And an argument is a position that we take on a particular issue, or it can be a claim that we make in response to a topic or an issue. So for example, the topic on trade wars, we would have an opinion or some opinion based on our current affairs knowledge. It could also be based on what we've studied in the unit. But We
Mm.
have to think about the arguments would be, to think about whether trade wars are healthy or are they damaging to a country's economy, and if so, why and how so.
Mm.
So that's forming an argument. And this argument or arguments that we have or develop should be supported by discipline specific or academic evidence. So this could mean looking up journal articles, looking up official trade reports that's specific to the discipline in order to support what we think.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I think what you're saying as well then is that you've got your argument. It's not just about writing down facts, but it's about your particular perspective and bringing in evidence to that. And so you're showing your critical thinking there as well. That as you're looking at evidence, you're thinking about the strengths and the weaknesses of the evidence, and you're also synthesizing the evidence. You're sort of
mm,
pulling it together, to grouping it to show sort of different ideas and different arguments within the larger essay. And I suppose the final thing that you're trying to do is you're actually juggling quite a lot of different things at the same time, is you're trying to make this argument logical and
mm,
coherent so that your reader can follow along through. It's got to be organized in a way that is clear, how bits are relating to each other, how each part follows on from the previous part.
precisely. And the other thing we consider as a must-have in an academic essay would be to consider the marking rubric. So in this case, the lecturer for this anthropology essay is expecting arguments, research, structure, and communication. And as much as we can when we are working on an assignment is to answer to these sections or these expectations in an essay.
Yeah. If you go back to the slide before, Brenda, I think the points that we've been talking about, we set it out slightly differently, but all of those are actually included in the rubric that you've shown us there. So even if they're not in exactly the same order,
Mm-hmm.
they're things that are really important to lecturers as they're looking at your essays.
Precisely, yes. So Vanessa, now that we know what is or what are the must-haves in an essay, what would we say are some of the how do we go about achieving this?
There are different things to focus on, and in the next two videos, we'll be talking about the process of writing, collecting things together and drafting, and then the final one will talk about the structure of the essay. But if you want to jump in and get going on something, here are some suggestions for you as to ways that you can get going on writing and structuring your essays. Probably the first place to look is actually in your unit guide, your iLearn unit, the information that your lecturer has given. They're often really helpful. They're giving you the rubrics, they're giving you example essays to look at. So check out or contact your lecturer. But as Brenda's mentioned before, the Learning Skills Unit offer a variety of different supports as well, such as workshops and resources on arguments and critical thinking and writing. The library will help you massively with the evidence that you need. So you can either go to the library homepage, Google MQ Library, and it will take you to the multi-search page, which is the place where you can type in and start searching for things. If you are getting a bit stuck and you need some one-on-one help with finding resources, on that library landing page, look at the bottom right-hand corner, there's library chat, and the library will have people online that are able to help you to search effectively and find the things that you need. What
Yeah,
have I missed, Brenda? What else can you tell us about?
the main thing is to go to bit.ly/assessment help, and all that Vanessa has stated can be found in that web page. So we've come to the end of the first video. In the next video, we'll be looking at the process of writing essay. We look forward to seeing you at the video.